everybody. Welcome back to the Damn Yankees podcast produced by Seven Ashes Productions. It is Friday, January 26th, and this is episode 33. My name is Megan. That's my brother Ryan. Over there is our baseball dummy Cliff. And we're back to talk about the Yanks. Hi.
Hello.
Okay. Hello. We said we'd be back every Tuesday or post every Wednesday, and we've already failed, so we failed our New Year's resolution.
That was my fault this time. I feel like it's my fault a lot of times why we don't podcast, but I apologize.
Well, school comes first, Ryan. So
yes.
What'd you say?
So, I said yes.
I guess.
Sure. I guess. Yeah, I mean, yeah, school comes first, Clifton. All right. That's why it took you so long. No. Love you. Anyway, so Yankees world has been pretty quiet in the last week, really. There have been a few new transactions. The Yankees DFA'd Gonzalez, Bubba Thompson, and Jeter Downs after our last podcast. But help me out. Gonzalez and Jeter Downs were picked up or were not picked up by any other team, so they are in AAA with the Yankees. And then Bubba gone.
Thompson is now over to the Twins. So
Control your cat.
What?
Control your cat.
No, she's fine.
Rory's joined the podcast.
She's just checking stuff out. She's seeing if she can jump on the chair over there, which might end up being funny because that's on wheels. So
Bubba joins the Twins, and the Bubba Jeter duo that we were excited for is gone.
No longer there.
I'm honestly not too surprised. Like, we got all three of those guys off waivers. If they didn't make our opening day lineup, then they were going to be DFA'd at some point, which
and I think
kind of the expectation.
Yeah, I think people said too this was definitely the expectation because they needed to make room so they could actually sign Luke Weaver and Marcus Stroman, which was why those weren't official at the last time, even though we knew they had signed. So DFAing those three made room for Luke Weaver and, more importantly, I guess, Marcus Stroman.
Yeah.
Marcus
so Weaver, what, $2 million 1-year contract?
I think that's right. That sounds right. I'm going to go with it. Yes.
And then Stroman officially signed, which we'll talk about more later as well. But so basically those the 3 DFAs had to happen in order to get Weaver and Stroman signed. And then I think the last bit of transaction was we signed a 17-year-old by the name of Francisco Valario.
Francisco.
That's
fun to say.
He's a 17-year-old from the Dominican Republic, and so we probably won't. He's,
we probably won't hear for at least 3 to 5 years. Hopefully on the 3 side if he's really good. But he's an outfielder. Apparently he's got 5-tool capabilities, so it'll be interesting. But we won't really see much of him for a little bit.
Ranked number 15 international prospect by MLB.com.
All right.
That's what it says.
Hopefully he improves from that.
Yes. So, so we'll see if we ever see him again or if he's a legitimate prospect that makes his way
or
up
if he ends up being in a trade somewhere down the line. You never really know with those kind of guys.
And he just stays with the team forever in AAA until
quad A player,
finally get rid of him. But anyway, so that was Yankees news. Quiet on the pitching front. From last time we said that only signing Marcus Stroman would be a bit of a failure. And we still feel that way. There's a lot of
none of the starting pitchers since the last time we talked have been signed.
Right. None of those starting pitchers, none of the top
changed.
Free agents have been signed. So, nothing has changed on that front, really. The Yankees are rumored to be done with their starting pitching rotation. So we're going to give that another week to see if maybe they're just saying that to pull Scott Boris's price down on Snell or...
Well, it's so hard to know, too, because then you hear rumors, or at least what they're verbally saying, like... I think the last time, again, that we heard it last year, too, from Hal verbally was that we're not done yet.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see. the case is. I've heard also rumored, I don't know how true it is or if new rumors or confirmation on other ways have come out, but that Snell has only gotten one official offer, and that was from the Yankees, which was below his pay rate. So if that is true, that is very interesting. And then I haven't really heard much of the rest of them. I know that basically the other guys outside of Montgomery and Snell are they're waiting on Snell or Montgomery to sign so that there's more openings. I know Kershaw's still out there, who had a decent year for, I know he's getting older, but he did have a decent year last year, but you always question his playoff ability because he's had, just no sugarcoating. He's had those issues. So yeah, nothing much happening for the Yankees there.
Yeah. So the only movement was that Josh Hader signed
the Houston Astros.
Yep, with the Houston Astros. So that kind of, if the Yankees are done with their starting pitching, then they are likely focusing more on their bullpen, which we have heard stronger rumors lately about Neris, which would make sense since they signed since the Astros signed Josh Hader, they wouldn't have room for Neris now, most likely. Maybe, I don't know.
You would hope. But and Neris is definitely the strongest of those names out there for the really pitching. So I like Neris.
Yeah, I think I do too. The other names were Phil Maton, Ryan Brazier, and Wandy Peralta. I don't know too much about the other two. Obviously, you've heard me say multiple times that I would like them to have Wandy Peralta come back. He's the only lefty on that list.
Yeah,
we need a lefty.
And we definitely need another lefty because at this moment, because I was looking through it again, I think Crook is also going to probably not make the opening day rotation, like the bullpen rotation.
Roster? Yeah.
So that would only leave, of what is expected in our bullpen, only leave Victor Gonzalez as our only lefty. So I definitely think they need another one, and I agree. Bring back Wandy in. He doesn't no longer have to be the lefty guy anymore. He's not the top lefty guy. That might make him feel a little bit more comfortable, maybe playing a little bit more like he was in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I know some people are really against Brazier. I know about Maton, but I don't know enough about his stats to really talk about him. But I was looking at Brazier because there was a lot of people who did not like him. He spent most of his career in Boston and had a really terrible start to the season with Boston, over a 7-run ERA. Got traded to LA and everything kind of turned around. He had a .70 ERA and a 627 ERA plus, which for anybody who knows, 100 is like the average. And most of the times, like a good one is like around 140. Like I looked at it and I had to look at it like 3 times, looking sure I wasn't looking at the wrong column.
Saying he's 6 times better than the average player.
Which doesn't. I'm curious of what that actually means and if it actually is there something bolstering that up, but. It's regardless, the .7 ERA, I think he had a pretty good whip in there too. I don't know why people are so against him. I don't know enough about him other than what I can see on these stats, but a .7 ERA over 38 games, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I like that.
I would definitely prefer Neris, and I would definitely prefer Wandy as if I were to pick 2 out of those 4, those are my 2. And I do think the Yankees definitely need 2 pitchers, whether that's going to be a starting pitcher and a relief pitcher, or they're getting 2 relief pitchers. They need 2 pitchers added to this team.
Yeah, and I know in the past I said that I would really like Josh Hader, which was, was the case, whatever. But I am glad the Yankees didn't spend as much as the Astros did on a closer.
The Astros haven't spent a lot.
Yeah, it was like 98
million. It's the same thing with Yamamoto, right?
Yeah. I mean,
you want the player, but then at the same time, you see what he paid for, and you're just like,
well, if that's what took to get him, then I'm okay that we didn't. So same thing with Hader. I think that was a bit too much money for a closer. Unless you're
and for a closer too, who who's not consistent, right?
Right.
Like, and that's the thing. Mariano's consistent. If he was been consistent, low ERA guy, always getting 45 plus saves in a season, like the guy, like he starts in a new city and he's not like his start in the Padres was really bad. So I just think that they could be getting a really good relief pitcher. They could be getting a guy who blows a lot of saves early on because, I mean, not that he's changed teams consistently, but he's never been a consistent guy. He's either been really good or someone who's a liability.
Yeah. Yeah. So not upset that the Yankees really didn't go all in there, and they weren't really ever rumored to do it. So I'm not surprised that the Yankees didn't get him. So he's off the table, and we'll see what
he's just a lefty closer, and it would be nice to have a lefty closer.
So we'll just get Wandy back, and everything will be fine. And otherwise, we were going to talk about Stroman again.
Yes, we were going to go back to Stroman. Yes. So you want to get
the Yankees introduced him on Zoom. So and press conference overall, I think, went really well. There's Rory making an appearance again. And Marcus was asked about the relationship between him and Cashman. He was asked about do you think you are misunderstood, and asked basically what if the fans boo you in one way, shape, or form. So all his responses were pretty good. Did you have any that stood out to you that you like?
I mean, I think overall that it was like everything we talked about, right? Like we talked about one. We still feel like Stroman should not be the only starting pitcher. It's looking like he is going to be the only one. But we also talked about the fans. The fans. Yankee fans, I myself, I know, have put out some anti-Stroman tweets over the years. He's got a bloated ERA against the Yankees lineup, and I always love to, and not that he's looking at my tweets, but
you never know.
You never know. But remind at least everybody who at the time wanted to defend Stroman, and I'd be like, a lot for a guy who's got a 6-run ERA against our team. I don't know. So he had a lot of people hating him, but I definitely think that he put his best foot forward. I think he talked about his competitive spirit, that he really wanted to be a Yankee. He's always wanted to be a Yankee. He's grateful to be in this position. He doesn't shy away from those things. I think one of the things. Well, I want to say you mentioned Cashman's comments about him in the past, that he wasn't a what was it? That he wasn't a
difference maker.
And he'd be a bullpen guy in our lineup.
Yeah.
I love the way Cashman tried to sugarcoat the whole thing.
That. Yeah.
He said, "It's important. It's an important box for me to check regardless, because he didn't deserve how that was played out in the press back then, because it certainly wasn't how I was planning, how I intended it to play out. But it was my bad. They laughed about it, and then they moved on," is basically the quote. But I love that he's like kind of throwing the press under the box and being like, but it's my bad. I should have known. I should have known they were going to take it that way. Like, come on.
Yeah,
I should have known they were going to be about it. What are you going to do?
Yeah. What are you going to do? Yeah.
Same guy who has said that Gio is no Josh Donaldson.
He's not.
Same guy who has now said, Same guy who has now said that Giancarlo Stanton is just that injuries are part of his game, and
that's who he is. That's
just who he is.
Expect. Like, all right, we're just gonna say it.
We're a good team, things like that. That's who it is. A person who has pissed off both Judge and Jeter in his tenure as GM. That's the man who's claiming that the press box took his
words out of context.
Yeah. But I thought that was
something malicious,
something interesting. But I definitely liked. Let me find the quote real quick. Yes, this is the one. I'm excited to go out there and compete in the Bronx and perform for the Bronx. I think it's the hardest thing to do. I'm always someone who's wanted a challenge, someone who's always up for a challenge, and I think it's just a match made in heaven. He talked about the limelight and the pressure that that not everybody is made to play in New York. Because of that reason, I'm someone who feels like it brings the best out of me, and I'm looking forward to that opportunity. And I think Cashman reiterated that, saying that a lot of players that they talked to avoid wanting to sign for the Yankees, but Stroman sought them out, and that's what they really liked. Which actually I think is interesting because it does go back into the rumors where when we were initially hearing about this, it was that Stroman called the Yankees to say, "I want to play here."
Yeah, that's true. And I was like, really? He called again? Like,
And it seems like Cashman confirmed that
yeah.
Stroman basically told them that, "Hey, I'm."
Yeah, I think I heard Stroman say in the press conference that his agents reached out to him to find out if he'd be interested in the Yankees, and he said, "Yeah." So I don't know if his agents just initiated it or if they got a call
Right.
first, but whatever, he said he was interested. I like that. That's great. And he's right. It's not a place that anybody can pitch, and you got to have tough skin. And so Marcus Stroman seems to have that kind of character. We'll see how it goes. He grew up in
Yeah.
Long Island, right? So knows the Yankee culture. He's gone to Yankee games growing up. So not that he wouldn't know the Yankees culture. He's been in MLB for a long time, but as a fan on a fan side, he knows that kind of culture too. So yeah, I'm excited. He had a good press conference, said all the right things.
Yeah, I think he said all the things that you would want him to say, especially with
in a
all the
genuine
issues
way
that
and
he
not in
had
a
back,
weird.
and
Yeah.
it felt good. I think when it came up, I know a lot of people were against it, but I was like, if he brings the same passion, the same hatred he had for the Yankees over the years, and he brought that in for passion for the Yankees and passion for the base, and brings us the 28th championship, I don't care about his last whatever tweets of him being upset about anything you bring us 28, you can go down as a legend in my book.
Exactly. It's all it takes. It's all it takes in any Yankees fan's heart. So yeah, that's how his tenure will go. And I think he even said that everyone will be surprised that I might surprise everyone at how my tenure goes because I think I'll handle this well. And so yeah, I'm looking
basically
forward to that.
feeling a bit misunderstood as a player or something like that.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah,
good
and I did want to
introduction to Yankee World.
I also wanted to, but you're good. Just because we were talking about maybe not bringing another pitcher in, that seems like the way, the pathway forward is the Yankees aren't looking to do that. And I know we said it was a failure. Not that I'm trying to go back on that take now. One, I think that Marcus Stroman's press conference changed my view on that slightly, but I think something else that we said at the time too is not that we should expect no injuries and always bounce backs to happen.
Right.
But if Rendon is the guy who we signed, then we don't really need a Snell, right? Then he is the clear number 2.
Yeah.
And if Cortez can bounce back, or even I know Clark Schmidt, we gave him a lot of shit to start off the season. But he did not put up a bad season. You have him. You have Luke Weaver, who signed for a 1-year deal, who did not do bad for us when he was pitching.
Should be pretty solid. Yeah.
So between Schmidt and Cortez and Weaver, if we can get 2 of those guys to act like back of the rotation guys, Stroman to be who he was for the Cubs for the last 2 years, and Rendon to bounce back, that's a decent lineup or a decent rotation.
I agree. I think Rendon and Cortez coming back and having comeback years this year is going to be key in our rotation success, and especially if we're done. So, and like you said, we have potential as long as they come back to what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And Cortez needs to be fun again. I hope. I know he's stopped doing some of the funny stuff because he was needing to focus on
pitch clock and all that.
Yeah. So hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, he's been able to kind of figure some things out and
he should have some
and
fun
be loose
again. I
again, 'cause
think
I think
him
that's
being
what-
number 5 in the pitching rotation is going to help him too.
That's true.
Like, I honestly think that it's a debate in itself to say that maybe Clark Schmidt should be ahead of him in the rotation.
Yeah.
This upcoming season, if we're going to keep him around and seeing what he's been doing.
Finished the year strong, so
yeah, and he was consistent. Like, he didn't get injured.
Yeah.
He was also really consistent at being really terrible in the 4th inning, but if he can,
it was like everything's going
stuff
great. Oh, okay, 4th inning, right? Never mind.
Yeah.
3rd time through the lineup, we suck. Okay, so if we can figure that out, we'll solid. There's a lot of ifs, but
a lot of ifs, which is always scary. But
but if they can get a couple more bullpen arms with that rotation, I think we should be okay. We want to get some depth. I think depth wise, we're at Luis Heel, Beater,
Clayton Beater's in there.
Kind of drawing some blanks, I guess, but that's
we definitely lost. Part of the reason why is because we also lost some depth. Like Luke Weaver is part of that depth as well.
Yeah.
So
we'll see how
like, we lost King, we lost Randy Vasquez. So those were a couple pieces of those. Also, Burrito. So that's 3 depth guys that we lost.
Yeah. So, there'll be others that take their place. We'll see how Beater does, and so we'll see how the pitching goes. We do think that the lineups are pretty set. Like our field, there might be a third base option in there. Who knows? But we think the lineup's pretty set.
So real quick with that. It's Matt Chapman, I think we've heard, right?
Yeah. There's been rumors lately that maybe they're interested in Matt Chapman.
I know a lot of people have been talking about it. Not that we can't go into it now. I think there's so much stuff to talk about today that would be a whole that would be a topic for maybe another, maybe on the next podcast if we hear that it's, becoming more prevalent, maybe we go more in depth with it. Yeah. He's definitely all I'll say right now is he's a better option this year than DJ LeMahieu. But do you want those 2 contracts? It's the contract side of it that I'm questioning, but we can get more into that. But assuming Matt Chapman doesn't happen, which I don't really expect it will, it just doesn't seem right.
I do think that DJ's role needs to be the utility infield player. So getting another third baseman would be fine. I don't think that they're going to make Peraza that person. That's, I guess, what he's just kind of factored out of my equation, even though we haven't even heard any rumors about him.
We haven't moved him. We haven't done anything.
So who knows? This whole thing could just blow up, and our lineups that we've just thought about, bless you, will be nothing. But I don't know how I feel about Matt Chapman though. Instead at third,
I love his defense. It's the contract I love his defense. I think he's a better overall hitter right now than DJ. If DJ doesn't
bad,
bounce
as
back,
toes okay, and So I don't know how I feel about it. So for right now, for my sanity, I'm saying our infield is set, and I'm dealing with, and I'm saying DJ's at third. And that's how we're starting it out.
And I think the lineup conversation's been happening since we got Soto, but I think especially now that Judge publicly talked about lineup stuff, I think it's been more prevalent.
That's true.
You want to go first on what you think your lineup is?
So we both did our own what we think the lineup should be, and we both put together what we think Boone will do.
Which is always different.
Yeah. So we're always wrong, and Boone will have 162 different lineups anyway, so don't worry about that. We're gonna be right one of those days. All right. So my lineup, and I did this. I can go into why I did who I chose for my leadoff a little later, but my leadoff hitter was Verdugo. Then I did Judge, Soto, Glaber, Rizzo, Stanton, DJ, Trevino, and Volpe. So Judge, then Soto, because that's been a topic. And I think for Verdugo being batting off first and a lefty, I would want Judge next as a righty. And he's kind of a career batting second order hitter, and Soto's kind of a career batting third order hitter. So I'm going with it. And even though publicly they have said that that's not happening, but that, and then I do have Trevino in starting. Well, I don't know if he'd be my opening day lineup because I know that Cole has his personal
preferences.
catchers.
We don't know what that'll be yet, but just on the precipice, that might be a little bit. We might be different on this because I like Wells. Yeah, I like his bat. I think we need a lefty bat in there, and Trevino just doesn't bring that. But obviously, Trevino has the defense. Like, if you were to pick a
everyday starter,
everyday starter, forget Cole, forget everything else, platooning, just who would you say should take 65% of the share? Who should take 35% of the share at catcher?
Right now, before spring training, I think Trevino. And I know that he was injured for the vast majority of last year, and he had a hard fall off at the beginning of last year when he did play. So understood. But I think he has the potential to have a nice comeback. He has such a good rapport. I love his pitch calling, and I like his rapport with pitchers. I don't know. I get warm and fuzzies when he's out there. He has also so I like him. I think maybe it's the veteran presence more that I'm more comfortable with, because I don't have a problem with Wells, to be honest. Like, if Wells was 65%, I'd be cool with it. But I just think if I were going to choose, I go Trevino.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the opposite side of that. I don't mind Trevino, kind of the same way you don't mind Wells. I think you're right that, it's not fair to judge his entire year based off of a year where he had an injury. Unfortunately, though, we have a lot of it. Not to say that Wells won't get injured. I hope he doesn't. But there's a lot of things I like about Wells. He came up in every time he pitched. When you talked about play calling, all the veteran pitchers said love his play calling. He called a great game.
To say that he called a great game. That's right.
And I think, again, the lefty bat, I think, is a big important side to me, and I definitely think we need a little bit more power on that side. And not that I think he's going to be some, Yadier Molina type hitter.
We keep hearing about his bat, though. So
and he is the one who fixed
potential's there.
Volpe.
That's right. We have him to thank.
So for me, mine is Wells at 65.
At the end of April, I could totally be on, totally flipped over to the other side. I think I just need to see more of Wells. I liked what I saw at the end of the year last year when they called up the kids. That was fun. He's got a sweet mustache. It's good.
Yeah, perfect for New York.
Yep, it's great. So I'm fully open to Wells being the more often guy, and Trevino being like the veteran wise man in the background. But for now,
you're saying Trevino.
Feel more comfortable with Trevino. Yep.
So my lineup, and I hear what you're saying when it comes to Judge and Soto. I think that on that side makes sense as far as what their career has been. But I do think that, one, I did mine based off the fact that I know the Yankees are not going to change it from Soto 2, Judge 3. But also, with me liking Wells as the catcher, we have 5 righties and 4 lefties. So you can basically put them all right in between each other, perfectly spread out. And again, Boone is going to put out 162 different lineups. So our lineup choice, whether it's opening day or whatever, at some point we're going to be probably right. And for the most days, it's not going to look anything like this. But so that's number one. One is that the Yankees have already said basically it's going to be Soto Judge. Judge has already said it's going to be Soto Judge. 2, if you have Wells in lineup, you have that righty lefty switch. But I think and this is probably why the Yankees are doing it, probably why Judge is saying it should be done this way. You have Soto, who's the on-base guy. He walks a ton. I think he walks more than any other person in the league. And so you get Soto on base. Judge comes up after it. He's the power guy. He's going to hit a 2-run home run.
devil's advocate, whoever's hitting behind Judge needs to be hitting. That's all.
Yes. Because they can't be walking.
Then they'll just, pitch around Soto, pitch around Judge, and then
so that's going to be the big thing. I think the bigger thing is who's for. I don't think people talk about that enough.
Well, that's what I mean. Whoever's hitting, that would be for. Who's hitting behind Judge would be for.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think that's the bigger conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because that person.
People talk about who's the
your huge advantage,
the lead off, but I think the 4 is the big.
Yeah, I think lead off is kind of set. I mean, I know I want Verdugo, but I guess we're leading it. You haven't even said your lineup yet, but
we know who Boone is going to pick.
Yeah, I think that the advantage or like the thing for mine to put Judge second and Soto third is assuming that the fourth person isn't going to be consistent enough to know, and at least Soto is protecting Judge, and then he doesn't get walked as much. So that's a pro to putting it that way, because Soto will protect Judge. But I perfectly know what they've said, and that's not what's going to happen, but it's just an argument that way.
I think that's a good argument. I hope that Boone is at least, that somebody in his group is saying what you're saying, because I think that's a good point, that, sometimes that consistency with someone who's already been a number 2 guy and someone who's been a number 3 guy, and their ABs there and how they play at that position factors into it for sure. My lineup is Torres leading off, Soto, Judge, Rizzo at the 4, Stanton 5, Verdugo 6, DJ 7, Wells 8, and Volpe 9. And I kind of did this because I really liked how that is set up when it comes to the righty-lefty splits.
Mm-hmm.
For my Boone lineup, it's pretty simple. It's just DJ goes number 1, and Torres drops to number 7 in the lineup. Only reason why I didn't do the same thing is because I hate seeing Torres down that low.
Yeah.
And I think that he's definitely a 4 guy, but he can't fit into that righty-lefty.
I do wonder if when Wells is in, because we're also not factoring in Cabrera, which I know Waldo doesn't have the guarantee to start the season on opening day, on opening day lineup. So, but
he's got to earn it. I think he definitely has to earn it. That's another conversation too. Cabrera has to earn it. This
for sure has to earn it. If he is in the lineup, though, I think that changes. This just takes into play all the different ways that the Boone is going to play with the lineup, and
that's why that we're going to have 162 different versions of this.
I bet he doesn't put Glaber down in the lineup. I totally get why you did it that way.
I think it still fits with an opening day. Honestly, having the fact that we can't.
He sat Glaber last opening day. Don't forget.
Yeah. Yep, that is true. And I will say, too, that when it comes down to it, when you look at the lineup, the only red flags in the top 7 of the lineup, even with Boone's lineup or my lineup, is DJ LeMahieu and Stanton. Right? DJ LeMahieu and Stanton both had off seasons. They're both older. Will they bounce back? It's kind of hard to say, yes, they're going to bounce back when they're getting, unfortunately for baseball, old. And that it comes into a factor with it. I mean, I don't think anybody's putting Stanton anymore in the number 4 spot because I don't think he protects Judge, like you were saying, enough, or Soto enough, whoever is in 3. Honestly, he just doesn't do it enough.
How much of a juggernaut would we be if we could do Judge, Soto, Stanton?
How amazing. 2017, 2018 Stanton, exactly.
Yeah, that would be great. But I just unfortunately don't. I would love to see that. It'd be great to see him start that way. I hope he's not done. But yeah, unfortunately last season was disaster.
It just didn't happen that way. And it's, as much as I don't like Cashman's comments because he,
I know
the comments weren't wrong to,
it was just your boss is saying this,
but you're the boss. Right. Yeah. That should be a conversation. You and I can say that. Michael Kay can say that. You you know, the talking heads can say that.
He can say that. He probably says that. You know.
But it'd be like, you know, I could say that I don't do this well in my job, and my boss could tell me in person, you don't do well this in my job. Yeah, you're right. But then if he were to go out to the entire, like, all the, you know, the clients or, you know, or this or the company or whatever, and they say, yeah, you know, Ryan is really bad at this in his job. That's just part of who he is with this job.
I would feel a little offended,
you know, like I'd feel a little offended with that. So that's why it's the difference there. Like, you and I agree that Cashman's comments weren't wrong.
Yeah.
The topic wasn't wrong. Just he's out of line to say it the way he did.
Yes.
So Stanton, I don't think can be number 4 anymore. He's gonna have to. I hope he can bounce back, but I think
cool for him to earn back number 5.
I also think it'd be nice for him to, maybe even for himself, like maybe he'll do better where he's not expected to be the cleanup guy.
True.
You know, part of the reason why he's bulked up so much over the years is because he is expected to be the guy who's supposed to hit 50 home runs in a season.
That's fair.
And so maybe him being moved down will make him realize, oh, you know,
take off some pressure.
I don't have to be.
He can relax a little bit and
maybe he'll hit better.
That'd be great. Could love to see a 40 home run season out of him. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I think opening day wise, though, when it comes to what Boone will actually do, I think the only thing we know is exactly what Judge said that he wants. Because when you look through a lot of it, it's going to go DJ, Soto, Judge.
Right, that's right. He specifically said as long as we're the top 3, or like as long as it's DJ, Soto, Judge, then
we'll do some damage or something like that. Is what he said.
Like, so we know that and we have the same. My Boone lineup is DJ, Soto, Judge. I do have Glaber at 4, Rizzo, Stanton, Verdugo, Trevino, and Volpe. So our difference is I have Trevino in the lineup. So
you have Trevino in the lineup. I also have Rizzo guarding Judge. And I really do think that if, you know, you take out the concussion from Judge, like you look at
I'm excited to shut everyone up that thinks that Rizzo's the end
washed.
And anybody who said Rizzo was washed at the end of the year, I'm so excited to see them to be shut up.
Yeah, because I really do think that the concussion had a big part of that. I mean, when you look at the stats before and after, and you just look at the way he played, we had talked we had said multiple times, he looks like he's still playing concussed.
What's with his speech? Why did he give that interview like that? That was weird, right? So and if you go back to cutting things off from the point he got hit by Tatis, his season, I mean, I know that was kind of early. I know it was May, but
it's too early to say that that's what it would have been the whole year, but it would not have been the drop off that it would have been. I mean, there was conversation that he was the second best hitter on the team throughout that part. I mean, there are parts where during
he would have been brought
Judge's
back down
first
to earth.
Injury that Rizzo was the reason why we were completely falling apart during Judge's first injury.
True. And that's very true. So, and I think he would have fallen back down to earth a little bit, but more towards his average. But he was having a spectacular season before he got hit. And so I do think he has potential to come back. So when Wells is the lineup, the way mine is so that I can do left, right as much as possible. But,
well, once you add a righty instead of a lefty, and now you're looking at
it's spread
6
out a
righties,
little bit
3
different.
lefties, and that
and
changes
I
things,
I do think Glaber has, I don't know, some of his off-season. I don't know if you've watched some of his little podcast off-season video things. He's been working all off-season. He looks pretty good. He looks focused, and I don't know. I still have his beard right now.
He loves his off-season beard.
I know. It looks pretty good. I mean, I don't blame him. If only the Yankees could update to more modern...
Clean-shaven beards.
Yeah, to be modern like the military. But
I feel if the military lets you have a beard, then the Yankees shouldn't be more than that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think we should be more strict than the U.S. military. But anyway, it's a conversation for later. But I think the questions start obviously getting into, your middle of the lineup, and then whether you've got Trevino or Wells in there, can drastically change kind of like where you put.
I will say, though,
lineup,
I am much more excited about this lineup than I was about last year's lineup.
Same.
I think we have a real left fielder, kind of. Even though he didn't play, we technically have 3 right fielders who are all playing.
I know.
we have 3 right fielders. Like, let's be honest, we have 3 right fielders who are trying to play.
Well, that's interesting. How much time do we have? Or have we our time? Right, Cliff says time. Damn it! I was gonna ask, and maybe if we talk about it later, like, do you think it's going to be Judge in center, Soto in left, Verdugo in right, or do you think that they'll ever put Judge in left?
And who in center?
Because
Soto's not a good outfielder.
I guess that's what I'm thinking is if Grisham... Right, Soto is not a good outfielder. So maybe it would be Grisham center, Judge left, and then Soto right.
Yeah. I definitely think this year we see Judge play first base.
Yeah, you think so?
Probably. I think this season we see it. Well, one, because
probably like toward middle to the end of the season, yeah.
Rizzo's a free agent after this year. So they're going to have to look to see what is Judge capable of doing at first base. Can he actually do it? I think in the middle of the season when when Rizzo and DJ need a break, I think Judge plays first base. And they're going to test him out and see what he can do. So I definitely think there's going to be a lot of movement.
He'll have a nice stretch there at first.
I think that Judge
6'7" frame head start on getting your ass out on a ground ball.
Probably one of the tallest first basemen there. But yeah, I definitely think
that man be. Let's see. No, sorry. Okay,
the majority of I think the majority of his positions, his position spread is going to be center field.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting because I definitely this is probably the last year he can do it, like, realistically.
Sure.
They're going to have to figure something out.
They don't want Judge there all season for sure.
For the next 7 years too.
But even for a full season, they don't want Judge in center field. So it sucks for him. He's never going to win a Gold Glove because they're going to just move him all around every outfield spot, and that man deserves to earn a Gold Glove. But I think he starts the season in center field. They have Jason Dominguez come back and see how he does, and that shakes things out.
See how he does as a first baseman. They might rotate him between and
have some trade pieces because then I think Grisham and Verdugo are kind of, I don't know. I guess it depends on how Jason Dominguez does. Anyway, that was sidetracked us. I just think the outfield conversation is interesting, even though we think the lineup we like the lineup set, and we're just like, look at all these questions that we have, though.
But as far as the batting side of it, it's better than last year. Again,
for sure.
You have somebody who is at least an outfielder playing left field, not somebody who went through minor leagues as a shortstop.
We'll try out a bunch of different people in left field. Yeah. That's a really hard position in Yankee Stadium. We'll just see. We'll just see
how they do. Yeah, between IKF, whoever else, Cabrera,
whoever else they wanted to stick out.
Whoever else they wanted to throw out there. Stanton, Judge. Sometimes, yeah.
Except Judge, they did not. They put him out there like twice during spring training. I think twice during spring training, but they never did in the regular season. I don't know. So it just seems like they're against it, but we'll see. I feel like that's an option if Grisham is in, who is a good defensive player. You want him in center.
Yeah, I heard he's supposed to be the guy.
You're going to take Soto out of the lineup? No.
I definitely think Grisham is the guy they're going to bring in at the later end of games.
Yeah, he'll be that's
his
7th,
role
8th,
where he's only going to end up getting one at bat in a
defensive
game.
Defensive
upgrade,
yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, I'm sure Cliff is getting us looks. We've passed time.
He took his glasses off. Oh no, serious. Okay. We'll move on. Okay, so the next bit of Yankee news that happened in the last week, the Yankees removed the white outlining on their away jerseys as a way to have new away jerseys.
And so we're all pretty sure this is happening because you always know when a team is getting rid of jerseys because they put the current ones, they're on like ridiculous sale. This happens with any league. You can kind of tell when your team is about to announce new jerseys because the old jerseys will be put on at like.
Well, I'm going to go buy
30%.
an old road jersey then. Like, if that's if that's the case,
pretty sure.
going. I don't have a road jersey yet, so I might go and get one. So first, before we start giving our opinions, the outlining was added in 1973. So these are basically the classic Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris jerseys. That if any pictures you've seen of the two of them together, that's the jersey. So right now there's piping around, or maybe piping's there's an outline around New York at
I've
the
heard
chest.
piping used as the word for it, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically a white outline, piping, yeah.
Yeah, on the sleeves, like I think there's like a navy and a white piping on the sleeve, and maybe somewhere else that I'm forgetting, but around the number on the back.
So around the number on the back, the sleeve here.
Is there something around the collar, or am I?
No, nothing around the collar.
No. So that's it, and so they've removed all of that. So it's just the blue New York, blue numbers on the back, very plain. You thought it was plain before. You didn't think it could get more plain, but it did. So I guess you could tell my opinion. I don't particularly care for it. I like the nostalgia of it, to think of going back to the pre-1970s Yankees. But as far as a jersey I would buy, I don't think this would be one of them I'm rushing to go get.
Yeah, I kind of in the same boat, I would say. So the way I look at it is, you basically have the same color jersey. Like nothing has changed with the color of the jersey. It's basically just a plain New York across the chest, same font. Yeah. Just it removes that white outline. If you're going to go back to something pre-1973, that sounds like what they're trying to do is just kind of go back to kind of more of the basics, more nostalgia of the old. I would have preferred you just go to a heathered gray type rather than the away grays that we see now.
Yeah, like the more weathered-looking ones.
Do it, go the whole way.
Yeah, agreed.
And it doesn't have to be necessarily where you bring out the old font of it, but
or the old
the new
actual
font is
texture. Because the texture of the thing, like you don't, not that far or anything.
Yeah, it doesn't have to go that far, but like you can get a heathered gray, like that's what it's called,
to make it look a little older. Yeah.
Yeah. So you do that, and with that, I think it looks better if they had gone that far and done the heathered gray. But I think with the current gray that they have, the post 1973 gray mixed in with the pre 1973 lettering, it's just odd.
Just looks like something's missing.
Yeah. And again, the Yankees have always been known to be very plain and very boring and bland when it comes to their jerseys. And this just makes it more so. So I definitely agree there.
Everyone else gets a City Connect jersey, but the Yankees are like...
I was going to say, I've heard the rumors where they've said... Yeah, I've heard the rumors where they said that they're not going to do it at all because that's not part of the Yankees tradition.
It's so it's like they can wear blackout jerseys, and whatever.
Because the MLB tells them they have to.
Oh, right. Well, maybe MLB tells them they have to have a City Connect jersey. Force them. How cool would that look? A City Connect jersey for the Bronx, and I just think there's so much awesome potential for a cool jersey. No, the Yankees don't get to have throwback jerseys. They don't get to have unique, fun whatever jerseys. Give us something.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find it real quick before we move on, because I definitely think it's an interesting. I think that when it comes down to it, here it is. Oh, sorry, that was loud. This guy's name is Cameron Guzzo.
Okay.
Very New York sounding name. Hold on. I'd have to actually find where he shows the jersey. I don't know if you can hear
his name must be
saying.
Guzzo or something.
All right. So he creates City Connect jerseys. He recreates them, redoes them, or gives teams City Connect jerseys.
Okay.
But this is the one he does for New York.
Okay.
So the New York.
Like
so, and then I don't know if you see the socks added in. It's got the skyline on it and the hat. So basically, it's got the green brim. That's kind of that mint green that the Yankees do for.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, the Statue of Liberty green, and then all the other green around it, on the New York. on the socks is like this glow effect on it.
Okay.
And the New York is in the font of the
subway?
No, the police department.
Oh,
New
is
York
it?
Police
Okay.
Department. And then the numbers are done in the subway format, and the colors actually, the color of the circle goes with the same one that you would see.
Like the 4 train and stuff. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's kind of cool. Like, that's something that would be interesting if the Yankees did.
Yeah.
I would buy it. And so in my opinion is, okay, I get it if you want to go back to more of a simple look for your road jerseys. Well, then do a City Connect, something like that. Obviously they're not going to do that. Balance it out. You don't have to do it like other teams do it, where they wear it like every Friday. I think Baltimore wears it every Friday. You don't have to do that. Do it for a weekend.
They're probably having trouble with, you mean the pinstripes won't be in Yankee Stadium? And I don't know. Like,
then do it as an away one. I don't know. Like, does it have to be in?
Does it have to be at home? Yeah. I mean, I guess
all the time.
The whole point would be doing it.
But to me, do it at home, sure.
I don't know.
Do it for the Subway Series against the Mets. Like, do it for both.
You would get as much pushback as they're kind of like. As they're like giving, yeah.
You do it, and again, maybe it's just for the Subway Series. You wear it for the Subway Series, home and away.
It's only 2 games.
It's only 2 games home and 2 games away, and so 79 games at home. You're wearing the pinstripes.
Yeah. Come on. So
and you're going to sell jerseys. You and I would definitely get one. I know several other people's, even in that comment of this guy's, were like, I'm a Yankees fan. Can you make that one for me? Because
right. Can I just buy that?
Like,
and fine. Maybe they should just, they put out, unique hats. Can't they just put out unique jerseys for the fans to wear? Like, if they don't want to do it, please give the fans something.
You would pay for Blake Snell's contract just by releasing City Connect jerseys.
Done. How? We did it. We figured it out. Yeah. Come on.
That would be the quickest $170 that I would drop if they dropped a City Connect jersey.
I'd do it.
I do this the All-Star jersey every year because I want something different than just pinstripes and grays. I mean, I love the pinstripes. I don't think the Yankees should ever change that for their main jersey.
We're not saying update the main jersey. We're just saying give us a cool alternate.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Again,
once in a blue moon.
And it's a weekend.
Yeah.
A weekend. I don't care. Choose the weekend.
The Tigers are in town. No one's watching. Just put I don't know.
No.
Anyway, so yeah, we don't like the new ones. We'll see. Maybe the picture that I saw, maybe it'll look better when it's on Aaron Judge. And I'll have a different opinion, but we'll have to wait until opening day because they do start on the road opening day. So we'll see.
Well, here's a little trivia for you. Would have been relevant if we were doing pod on Tuesday, but because 95 years ago on this past Tuesday, the Yankees are the first team to add numbers to the back of their jerseys.
And then everyone followed suit because
the other teams followed suit, but then they added names, and the Yankees said, "We're not doing that."
And so you're dumb. This is a team sport. You are a Yankee.
Yeah, and the Yankees are also the first team. I think we talked about this before, but the Yankees are also the first team to retire a number in any major sport.
That's right. Yes, we did. I think we've talked about that at some point. I remember. Yes. And also what happened on Tuesday 10 years ago, I'm reading our producer notes here. We signed Tanaka.
9 years ago, 2014.
That's 10 years ago.
Oh, it's 2024.
We've all been there. We've all done that.
Yeah, I've been.
How many times have we write 2023 on something? We're like 2024.
Like, man, and that's not easy to fix. Yeah. So Tanaka, I wish we were able to give him a ring, but miss Tanaka. He was good pitcher.
Yes.
All right. I think that's all the Yankee topics we have for today, but
I think we have one more. What?
We're ready to talk about Rendon then?
Rendon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So
I like Rendon. Yeah, like dun.
Rendon. Well, Anthony Rendon opened his big fat mouth over the weekend, or I don't know, earlier last week. I don't know when this happened. I forget. Time is weird. Anyway, he said that the MLB season is just too long, and they really got to shorten that up. That
Someone racing outside?
I know. My God, that was loud.
That's our local on his motorcycle.
Yeah. Yeah, he always comes out. We know the weather's nice outside by did we hear him speed by?
Do we hear him today?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Anyway, so in case you didn't hear that, Rendon said that the season's too long. That we got to shorten, he said, quote unquote, we got to shorten the season up, man. It's too many dang games. We got to shorten that bad boy up.
Yeah. So real quick, so for people who don't know who Anthony Rendon is, real quick, Anthony Rendon played originally for the Washington Nationals. He did really good for them, especially in the year that they won the World Series. He had a career year where he hit like over 40 home runs. He had a almost 300 batting average, if not 300. Like he was in MVP considerations. Whole 9 yards, won a Silver Slugger, I'm pretty sure. I might be getting some of these facts wrong, but I know he had an absolutely stellar 2018 or 2019, the year the Nationals won.
Yes, that's nice.
I think 2019. But anyway, he had a stellar year the year the Nationals won the World Series, and he was a free agent following that World Series. So, of course, just as any player does, like Aaron Judge, who had a career year, and then became a free agent, he got paid. Rendon signed and teamed up with Ohtani and Trout for the Los Angeles Angels for a contract that paid him $235,000 a game. A game.
Did you buy inning too?
No, but I know that it's $235,000 a game. He gets paid. I think it was a 6-year deal. I don't know what the numbers.
He wants to get paid more per game. He wants to live.
Yeah, apparently. So yeah, I don't know if he came out with the number of games he would suggest. So the reason why this comment came up is he was on somebody's podcast for some reason, and he
This is also the same guy that wanted to like hit a fan last year, right?
Yes.
Or like had a verbal confrontation with a fan last year and
tried
got
to
suspended.
punch a fan.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yep. He told her, "I will punch you in the face" or something along that lines. Like he wanted to fight this guy. So yeah, he was asked, "What would you do to what would you change if you were commissioner of the league?" And that was his response. And so on top of not only getting paid $235,000 per game that the Angels play, he has only played less than 38% of those games that the Angels play.
No,
38%.
I knew it was bad.
You want to hear some stats from over 4 seasons?
Sure.
Yeah, his 4 seasons with the Angels.
Yeah, Rendon has only played 200 out of a possible 546 games. He's been out of the lineup 64% of the time.
Yeah, that's insane.
And
so your season's already short, buddy. What are you?
Well, the game's super long when all you do is just sit on the bench.
Yes.
Yeah. So somebody had said that when it comes down to the conversation of shorting the season, it's like I don't know who it was, and I don't want to pretend it was my comment, but I think it's definitely one that a lot of people share. The idea of shortening the season is probably not one that is unique to any one player. I'm sure there are several players who have that, and there is a debate to be had. But the spokesman of that person should not be the guy who has not played more than 58 games in a single season.
No. He's like, COVID year was my favorite year, guys.
Apparently. Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's bad. Like, what I saw it, and, I've followed the Yankees, like, every breath they take, right? So a lot of times other MLB players are just like, what? I don't know about you because you play. But like, so I've heard, obviously he's a good enough player. I've heard about him enough. And when I saw this comment, I was like, have you, like, my instinct was, have you ever played a full season? And like, I don't can't.
Not since he won the World Series.
And I'm like, this is the same guy who wanted to hit a fan last year. Like, what?
Well,
what
in all fairness, he's been hurt a lot. You want to hear all his injuries?
Oh.
An oblique injury to the left groin, knee, triceps, hip, wrist, another groin, another wrist, and a shin injury.
He plays a professional sport where there's a ball hurtling at you and you've got to sprint. Of course he's going to get injured. Like, this is an injury-prone player. You want to talk about injury-prone?
Yes.
This is an injury-prone player. Aaron Judge is not an injury-prone player. His list is not nearly as that long, and his are all full of freak shit. So, like...
Yeah, falling on top of your wrist, breaking a outfield fence at
Yeah,
Dodger
I was
Stadium.
about to say going through a wall, yeah.
Somebody throwing a baseball at your wrist. Yeah.
I think the only muscle injury he's ever had is an oblique.
I think that's right. In like 2018, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ever since then, he's been injury prone.
Yeah, injury prone. And it's like, wait a minute.
But yeah, so I think when it comes down to Anthony Rendon, though, like it's one of those things where, again, as this guy said, you're not the spokesman for this. I don't like the idea of shortening the season. I think that the 162 game marathon is important to the success of the season. I also saw somebody say that he's right. It should be shorter and they should add more games to the playoffs because that's what all the other teams do. And I'm like, what do you mean all the other leagues? The only league, like no other league has 8 teams because that's what this guy specifically said is that it should move up to 8 like all the other teams. What other leagues? Basketball does 10. Football does
half
7.
Of basketball makes it into the playoffs, right?
Yeah, more than half of basketball makes it in. The football, they do 7, same as Major League Baseball. I believe like
7?
MLS does a ton. Maybe hockey does 8, but I don't know. I don't follow hockey in that way.
Hockey. Yeah,
but I know that MLS does a lot. Like they're also ones that put in more than half of the teams make the playoffs. I don't think that that's what MLB has ever been. You know, I don't think that that's something that I
don't think we need to bring any more. I mean, I honestly don't mind. Like, I thought we expanding the playoffs to include. I guess what we're at 8. Is 8 teams?
7.
There's
7 teams.
Well,
4.
Or
division. The 3 divisions.
3 wild card.
Is it 3 teams? 6 teams?
Yeah,
Did I get that wrong? 6 teams.
6 teams, right? Yeah, because you get 3 in
yeah,
each division and 3
wrong.
wild cards. And I thought, because they've added 2 more teams to the playoff structure. And when they did that, I was like, ugh, what are we doing? I actually kind of like it's pretty exciting towards the end of the year because now you do have more teams vying for those second and third wild card spots. And it is fun to, go through that. It's, who knows, a shuffle of between August and September is it varies, there's a lot of shuffling that goes on. So it's a fun watch. So I don't mind what they've added, but I don't think they need more. Yeah.
And not only do I not think that they need more, but it's also just silly to say that this is what all the other teams do, leagues do. Like,
sure, because that's not accurate.
Is quite different in the way they do things. And baseball is not meant to be a shorter season. Now, I'm also on the side of I'm not a player, and if all the players are saying we should shorten it up to 140 games, then maybe that's what they do. But my opinion is I think there's a lot of players, too. As many players are saying they want to shorten the season, I think there's even more players who are saying that's going to affect our chances of Hall of Fame. I mean, when you think about it, it's not like the NBA. The NBA plays and they do their statistics, end of year statistics when it comes to awards, when it comes to a lot of other things. They do that mostly based off of per game stats. Points per game, assists per game, rebounds per game, shot percentage.
So it'll average out no matter how many games they end up playing.
Right. So your points per game isn't going to matter whether you played 60 games or 82 games in their season.
So have a better
but, if you're playing 140 games, that's 22 less games than what they're currently
pitchers have a
playing.
lot less stats, and
But you're going to have less wins, less
most
strikeout
MLB
opportunities,
stats are
less
total
home run stats. Yeah, you're
total
never
hits,
going to.
total home runs.
We're already on the precipice of never seeing another 3K hitter in MLB history. Like just so the way hitters hit now, you move that back from 162 games, you're never going to, just point blank, you're probably never going to get someone to hit 3,000 hits again. And so, if the players are fine with that and they think that when it comes to Hall of Fame and all these different things they're going to consider that they're playing less games, then fine. If that's what the players as a majority want and that's what they're going to do, it's still baseball. I'm going to love it, and I'm going to love seeing how they change it and what's going to be new about it. But I think that there's going to be plenty of players who say, no, because I'll never be able to hit 63 home runs in a season if you move it back to 140 games. I'll never be able to do this in a season. Like, I'll never be able to break this record that, we fight for every year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
that's a very valid argument. I mean, whether, from just, I don't want to, I like 162. I like the marathon. I like that they get to play every team, all MLB teams. You'll play at least once. So I like that. But I think that's an even better point, that MLB players may not even want to consider it because that'll mess up with their stats and that won't equal out in their lifetime.
Right.
The view of what is good will level out at some point, but while they're the unfortunate players that get the half and half 162, half 140 games or whatever would end up being. So I don't think that change, that's a huge change. That, I mean, I can't imagine any, I don't know. I just thought of Manfred
considering it.
I don't think they're considering it at all.
They just made the whole deal for all teams to play every team, and now you're going to shorten it to 22 games.
I just got the flash of Manfred, though, of just like, oh God, he would do something that stupid. But he likes money more than doing stupid things, I think. So, and that more games.
If it's money and something stupid, then he'll do it. But if it's less
that's
money,
top priority. Yeah.
If it's less money, then we're not going to do that.
We're not considering it at all. So
anyway, I think
Rendon is just a dumbass that opened his mouth and
he's just not the guy to talk about it.
But he's gonna.
If the players who see this as like, this is our I don't know, our standpoint on it, like this, like there's a group of players that are fighting for this, then they need to select the guy who plays over 75% of his games.
Well, yeah.
And it says, hey,
have Soto come in and say,
or someone who's like genuinely, like, you watch them play and they're like, yeah, this guy loves the game, and he is saying
Brett Gardner comes back and says, wow, that season's just too long. He played probably like 160 games every year. So
and someone who's obviously in love with the game, that's where, you need someone who's in love with the game, obviously in love with the game, who's someone who plays the game consistently, and
to bring up that conversation, because otherwise it just turns into a bunch of memes about how, tell me the last time you've played a full season, buddy. Like, talk to me when you play 130.
He's never hit 60 games in a season, I think.
That's insane.
Like, outside of his time with Washington.
Like the Washington year. Yeah. That's like, sit down, shut up. No one wants to hear from you. So we're going to end out a real good note, I guess. Trash and Rendon.
Trash and Rendon. Hopefully there's some more. We said it last time. Hopefully by this upcoming Tuesday, we have more to talk about on the free agency front. But it's potential that we won't hear a lot of new stuff until we get closer to February, as like some players are just waiting teams out, and then
now they're in that stalemate phase of the negotiation. So we'll see what shakes loose before spring training. There's less than a month till catchers and pitchers report on Valentine's Day. And then, I forget when the first game for spring training is, but
I think it's March, but that'll
March,
be
it's
about another month away.
So we'll have to look at some games to hopefully go to. But
Yes.
getting excited. Getting closer and
Yes.
closer to spring training, which means closer and closer to baseball.
I'm excited for that. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's been way too long of an off season.
Yes. It takes too long. It's the shortest off season in all the professional sports.
I'm sure it is. Yes. It still feels too long.
It's way too long. Don't like it. Especially this last off season.
Yeah, you know what? In fact, they need more games.
I only need December off. Thanks, okay?
I'm the opposite of Rendon. They need to start playing 200 games instead and only have 3 weeks off.
Guys are all soft.
Well, anyway, check us out on our next podcast. We should be back up and running for Tuesdays, so check us out.
We should?
Should.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
We put due dates in our calendars this time.
Right. Yes, I put due dates in our calendars this time. So check us out for our next podcast. Check us out on Spotify or YouTube, whichever you prefer to listen to us. Subscribe and hit those like buttons on them. Follow us at Damn Yankees _pod for Twitter,
Damn
X.
Yanks.
What did I say? Damn Yanks. At Damn Yanks _pod on X, otherwise known as Twitter, Threads, Instagram, and at Damn Yanks Pod on Facebook. And yeah, anything else? That's it.
Thanks for listening if you made it this far.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Aaron, thank you for listening to last week's pod and this week's pod.
All right.
But I never mind. See ya.
See ya.